Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to TV UCC. Today we're coming to you live from the Parliament House of the University of Cape Coast. My name is Desmond Okrekudanso. Now there's a very important topic that we need to talk about, and it's generated a lot of mixed reactions from Ghanaians from several quarters, and I'm talking about the Communications Ministry, the National Communications Authority, the telecommunication networks, and all of that. And that's about the increase of the communication service tax from 6% to 9%. That's a 3% increase there. Since 1st October, when it took effect, you've had Ghanaians talk about it, consumers complaining that when they buy the airtime, the percentage or the tax is deducted right there. So if an example is, if you buy 10 Ghana cedis worth of airtime, you'd get around 9 cedis, 50 pesos, something like that. So you'd have to buy 11 Ghana cedis to make a bundle of 10 cedis. And so today we are here to talk to a few people, get to understand what the make of this introduction, the introduction of this new tax here. So my guest here, Raphael Mensah, he's a student of the University of Cape Coast, level 300, and also Malo Dadzi, he's a graduate student here. Guys, you're welcome. Now let me take your initial reactions, Raphael, when you first heard of the increment of the communication service tax from 6 to 9%, and then have you had the experiences of getting your airtime deducted when you buy them?
Okay. Personally, I was a bit perturbed. I didn't really bought into the idea. My roommates was the one experiencing this, and then it's like the whole thing to me don't really support the whole thing, because I seem to be on the same portion with the Ministry of I would say Ministry of Communication here, because it was initially 6%, okay, and then an increment of 3% was added, okay. So then the telcos shifted 6% to its customers, of which I disagree. Why? Because if you should bundle a 5 gigabyte data, and then you don't get to use all the 5 gigabyte data, you get to use 3 gigabytes data out of the 5, and then it expires. The telcos automatically take the 3%, the 2 gigabytes data left. Yeah. Okay, so I think that is enough to complement that 3% added tax added. I don't think they should cast it upon the customers. It's making the whole situation kind of not helping. So I totally disagree. I don't think that's the way to go for it. They should rather use that means of taking the leftover data that customers don't use to complement their tax increase. That's what I think they should do, because this whole thing is not helping.
So I'll come back to you, but Milo, in the first place, do you think that there's any justification for the increment of this CST from 6 to 9%? Listening to the Minister of Communications, Mrs. Esla Kufu, she mentioned that the 3% will be used to make some money for them to cater for these things happening with cyber in our country, where people take advantage, and to just strengthen the security of it. Do you think there's any justification for this 3%? Do you agree with it?
No, well, it's apparent that Ghana really needs a lot of money, and in running the states, you obviously will have to generate income from other sources, and probably taxation is one of them. But the issue of taxation has never really been popular with citizens. If any government was to increase taxes, obviously there will be a backlash. But I think in Africa here, or in Ghana, our leaders are quick to increase tax because it's the surest way of getting money in the shortest possible time, and so they are really, really eager to increase tax. But there are a wide range of possibilities in terms of raising funds for the state, which I believe they should explore, in terms of investing in things that will generate profit, so that they can then reap it back into the economy, rather than just giving contracts to family and friends.
The minister also thinks that the telcos are trying to pitch Ghanaians against the government, in the sense that they are shifting the most of the percentage to the Ghanaians, and now the tax is deducted upfront when you buy the data. But rather, they are saying, they released a statement last week, and they are saying that the telcos should make sure that they change their systems. But the telcos are also saying we need 6-8 weeks to be able to do that. Until then, the consumers would have to suffer for this.
Yeah, you see, this when you go through history, this always happens. Real power doesn't reside with the politicians; it resides with big businesses and multinationals. And whenever governments are in direct opposition to these big giants' interests, the governments will always suffer because you need public opinion to thrive. These businesses they do not necessarily need public opinion; they just need to appeal to the right quarters, and then they do business. And so, yeah, the government should probably find a way to judge all with them rather than just open confrontation with them. Government will be on the wrong side because there are things they can do that can whip up public anger towards the states, and that will be bad for government. Of course, I'm not justifying their approach towards it, but if they say they need 6-8 weeks, probably I don't know. This just at the risk of digressing a little. Our country needs people who can lobby. You need lobbyists in every meeting. You need trained negotiators, right? So if they need 6 weeks, lobby, speak to them, reduce it to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something you can manage, not either our way or the hard way, right? When it happens like that, then the confrontation, the conflict pops up. And once that pops up, trust me, governments will always be on the bad side. So probably government should find a better way of negotiating with them so that they could probably cut down the time from 6 to 8 weeks to probably 2 or a week, and then find a way of doing things for them. But if you openly want to show them where power lies, they'll show you where the real mandate comes from.
And Rafa, I want to ask also, do you think that over the years the telcos have taken consumers for granted, and it's great that the appropriate stakeholders like the Ministry of Communications, the NCA, have stepped in to make sure that the telcos don't go ahead with what Ghanaians call as cheating them all the time?
Okay, for me, my stance still remains. I think the government is doing the right thing by telling the telcos to stop passing that establishment they want to do by casting 9% of the task onto their customers, because it's not going to help. I think over the years the telcos have taken us for granted. People complain that sometimes they don't know how their credits gets finished and stuff like that.
You experience that?
Personally, I don't, but I get a lot of people giving that complaints, and I think that has been the problem over the years. And so the government's coming in to tell the telcos that, hey, you have to take the 9%. It's a right initiative because people are spending a lot on data, and then even when like I said, I'm still coming back to my old point. Okay, so then if people don't get to use all the data that they sign up for, you get it back. Okay, so what are you doing with stuff like that? That can even complement the tax that you guys are paying, the 3% added tax that you guys are paying. So I don't think they should shift the whole thing onto consumers and make them suffer for what they've not really cost. That's my thought on that.
Milo, do you think that for the telcos they are justified in the actions? Because the very first time that the communication service tax was introduced in 2008, 6%, the telcos had absorbed them to a certain point, and so maybe there's another way for them to get something small. And now the ministry is saying that if you buy airtime or you try and make a bundle, there shouldn't be any expiration to it. And that's another thing that the telcos are not really, agreeing with.
Well, let's see. I'm not sure any government can show businesses how to make profits. These guys already know how to make their profits. The business is their means of generating money, and they know ways that are not even open to us yet. They know how to generate funds, and so it's not any government's position or place to let them generate fund. But you made mention of whether telcos are taking us for granted. Well, I think it's not necessarily the telcos taking us for granted. It's our leaders that have taken us for granted over these years, right? They give the contracts, they give the licensing, they make sure these guys operate, they check their policies. Is there a proper regulatory mechanism in place? If all these things are set by our governments, telcos cannot wake up on or be of their own and say, hey, we'd like to take Ghanaians for granted, right? The proper checks and balances are there. Then they cannot take us for granted. Passing it on to consumers, that's how businesses operate. Nobody wants to run at a loss. They will obviously pass it on to your consumers. Maybe how it is being passed on could be an issue where you could discuss it. Trust me, if any of the political parties or any leader owned the business and they were being bombarded with tax day in, day out, they will obviously pass it on to the consumer. So you can't really tell them not to pass it on to the consumer. I feel you have to find a way to cushion them so that they will be more accepting to whichever policy you seek to implement.
The last time this I'll say the tax was increased was 2008, right? Yeah, so it's been a long while. So I don't think now in 2019 that if increase should be a bit of a problem to the telcos. I think they should absorb it and find more pragmatic ways that they can go about things, not necessarily casting 9% of the tax to consumers, of which won't help. Okay, so then if consumers are complaining for a very long time, then you should know that it's a problem that you have to identify and then work on. That is why the government is saying that no, this shouldn't be the case. You guys should rather find a way of dealing with this menace rather than you shifting your problem to the consumers, making them pay 9% of the tax, which is very bad. So then what is take on that? So them not identifying how we can make use of some of the data bundles that we use that doesn't, we don't exhaust the whole thing. Okay, so then it gets to maybe I sign up to a data bundle, let's say 1 month, and then I don't get to use everything. Okay, so then it expires and I have 2 GB data left. What happens to that? Okay,
should that really be an expiration?
Yes, it should.
This is your money. You buy data. You want to use it for yourself.
You get it.
And
so if it's 1 month, I have to exhaust the whole thing. You don't have to tell me when it's.
No, that's where the problem comes in with the 1 month. The 1 month on it, there's an expiration on it.
There's an expiration, okay, but then what happens if I don't get to use the whole thing? Okay, so it's still mine. You understand? So what happens to those leftover data bundles that I sign up for? What are they doing with it? You get it? Well, that's another problem. Okay, that is why I think that they don't have to shift the rest of the tax to us for us to pay, since they get advantage of this stuff that we don't even end up using.
And that's what the NCA is saying, that there shouldn't be any expiration to any data bundle, any core bundle.
Wait, that's why I said earlier that government shouldn't be in the position to tell companies how to make their profits. This is something that has been existing for a long time. If government feels it is wrong, it should be part of the regulatory framework that no telecommunication company should put expiry dates on their products, right? If that is part of the regulation, they will abide by it. But to introduce 9% and then bring this as a way to win public sympathy will probably not go down well. These guys see you for who you are. If you want to increase taxation, increase taxes. Let's feel it, right? You don't try or as a means to win public sympathy. Of course, put it in a regulation. Let it be a law that no telecommunication company should have expiry dates on their products. And I'm sure they'll abide by it. If they want to do business in Ghana, they must make sure there are no expiry dates on their products. But there's 9%. How best do they disburse this 9% to the consumers? Should it be cushioned in a way? Should it not? That's a discussion they should have with the telcos so that they can arrive at a more peaceful conclusion, so that we don't face what we are facing now.
And that's what the NCA, or the Communications Ministry, sought to do last week with a press release out there. Finally, let me ask this question. Would you want to pay your tax upfront, or you'd rather have it, not knowing that you're paying it? You're paying it.
Okay. So either ways, personally, I don't think it should be a problem if I'm paying my tax as an individual, being a patriotic citizen. That's one of my responsibilities that I have to do. Okay, so then I don't see it to be a problem. But like government is saying, this one I don't think I agree with that, because it is one's responsibility to obligate to the fact that
people are complaining that when I buy 10 cities and I want to make a bundle of 10 cities, I'd rather have to buy 11 cities.
That is where I disagree with this. Shifting of the taxes to consumers. Okay, that is where my point comes in. Okay, so Milo will tell you that they should rather find a more effective way of disbursing this should I call it fund or tax. Okay, yes, but I think these telcos have so many ways of making money. They generate money from so many angles.
They're already making so much money from consumers, and you want them to
so much. They owe us a lot. So then I don't see the reason why they should come and tell us that they are shifting 9% of whatsoever on us. No, to me, I totally disagree, and I support the Ministry of Communication for what they are doing. They should keep pushing that and make sure they put an end to this menace consumers are facing.
Milo, your final words on this.
Well, the world we live in today, telecommunication or communication is an essential element in the world we live in. We really can't do without it, and therefore, for the states to tax it or for the states to try and regulate it, it should be done in a more compassionate manner. The states should find a way, as I said earlier, to collaborate with other stakeholders to ensure that we don't feel they affect so much. Of course, if you need a smooth system or if you want an efficient telecommunication system, we will have to pay for it, and therefore paying for it should be done in a way where we can be comfortable a bit. And I think taxation or no taxation, let's just judge all very well.
Thank you very much. So we heard from Milo Dadzi. He's a graduate student here at the University of Cape Coast, and also Rafael Mensah. He is also here, level 300 student here. It's just been very interesting getting to understand this particular issue about the communication service tax. This is TV UCC. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So we'll still go around and talk to a few more people, get some responses from them. How are they feeling the reduction of those taxes on their airtime? And I'm sure that we'll come back, we'll bring everything back to you on TV UCC. Thank you very much for watching.